Continuing in the Chabad Lubavitch learning program with the daily chapter of Rambam, Maimonides, in the system, in the calendar, whatever, the schedule, they're holding at Yesodei HaTorah chapter 4 in Maimonides. These four bodies, fire, wind, water, and earth, are the fundamental elements of all the creations below the sky. Everything that exists, be it man, beast, fowl, crawling creature, fish, plant, metal, precious stone, pearl, building stone, mountain, or lump of earth, the body of all these entities is a combination of these four fundamental elements. Thus, all the bodies which are found below the sky, with the exception of these four bodies, are a combination of matter and form, and their matter is a combination of these fundamental elements. These fundamental elements, however, are a combination of matter and form as they exist in a Hylian state alone. Okay, I'm not sure what a Hylian is, but whatever it is, it is. In Hebrew, it's Ela mi golem. Oh, golem is like an inanimate. Okay. The tendency of fire and wind is to ascend upwards from the depths of the earth toward the sky. The tendency of water and earth is to descend from the sky to the midpoint of the sky, meaning the center of the earth, for the midpoint of the sky is the lowest point, below which nothing is lower. These tendencies are not a conscious matter, nor are they willful. Rather, it is a pattern implanted within them and nature. They were given. The natural characteristics of fire are that it is warm and dry. It is the lightest of all these fundamental elements. Really? Fire is lighter than wind? Okay. Wind is warm and moist. Water is cold and moist. The earth is dry and cold. It is the heaviest of all these fundamental elements. Water is lighter than earth, therefore it is found above it. Wind is lighter than water, therefore it hovers above it. Fire is even lighter than wind. Since these are the fundamental elements for all the bodies below the sky, the matter of every single body, man, animal, beast, fowl, fish, plant, metal, and stone, is a combination of fire, wind, water, and earth. In the process of the combination of these four, each one of them changes while they are being combined. Thus, the combination of the four fundamental elements does not resemble any one of the elements as it exists alone. Similarly, in any combination of them, there cannot be found even one portion of fire as it exists alone, wind as it exists alone, water as it exists alone, nor earth as it exists alone. Rather, they have all changed and become a single body. Each and every body which is a combination of these four fundamental elements will have a combination of cold and warmth, moistness and dryness. There are some bodies which have more powerful concentration of the fundamental element of fire, for example, creatures with living souls. Accordingly, they have a higher temperature. Conversely, there are some bodies with a more powerful concentration of the element of earth, for example, the stones. Accordingly, they are very dry. Similarly, some of them have bodies with a greater concentration of the element of water. Accordingly, they are moist. In this manner, one may find one body which is warmer than another body, which is itself warm and one body drier than another body which is itself dry. Similarly, there are bodies in which cold alone is noticeable, and other bodies in which moistness alone is noticeable. In some bodies, cold and dryness are equally noticeable. In others, cold and moistness are equally noticeable. In others, warmth and dryness are equally noticeable. In others, warmth and moistness are equally noticeable. According to the predominance of the element that is found in the essential combination, the inclination and nature of that element will be expressed in the body resulting from a mixture of all the elements. Every entity, which is a combination of these four fundamental elements, will ultimately decompose into these elements. Some will decompose after a mere few days, and others will decompose after many years. However, it is impossible for everything which is a combination of these elements not to decompose into them. It is impossible even for gold and ruby not to decompose and return to their fundamental elements. A portion becoming fire, a portion water, a portion wind, and a portion earth. Since every entity will decompose and separate into these four fundamental elements, why was Adam told, "You will return to dust," implying that man will return to dust alone, because the major part of man's composition is from dust? Every entity that decomposes will not return to the four fundamental elements immediately. Rather, it will decompose and change into another entity. That entity will in turn change into another entity until ultimately it will return to the elements. He doesn't say what they are. What is that element? He doesn't say. Thus, all entities are constantly returning to their elemental state in a cycle. These four fundamental elements are in a constant state of flux, with a certain portion, but never the entire matter, of one changing into another every day and every hour. What is implied? A portion of the earth which is close to the water changes, dissolves, and becomes water. Similarly, a portion of the water which is close to the wind changes, evaporates, and becomes wind. A portion of the wind which is close to the fire changes, goes through metamorphosis, and becomes fire. Similarly, a portion of the fire close to the wind goes through metamorphosis, changes, contracts, and becomes wind. The wind which is close to the water changes, contracts, and becomes water. And the water which is close to the earth changes, contracts, and becomes earth. This cycle of change proceeds little by little over the course of time. The entire fundamental element will never change. For example, all the water will never become wind, nor all the wind fire, because it is impossible for the existence of one of the four fundamental elements to be nullified. Rather, a portion of the fire will change to wind, and a portion of the wind to fire. Similarly, between each pair of these four, change will go on in an unceasing, recurrent cycle. This cycle of change is caused by the revolution of the sphere. Its revolution causes the four fundamental elements to combine, and thus forms the matter of men, living beasts, plants, stones, and metals. God gives each body the form appropriate to it through the angels of the 10th level, which are the form called Ishim. You will never see the matter without form or form without matter. It is the heart of man which, in its knowledge, considers the bodies that are found and knows that they are a combination of matter and form. It appreciates that there are bodies whose matter is a combination of the four fundamental elements, bodies whose matter is simple and contains only one type of matter, and forms which have no matter and cannot be seen by the eye. The latter are discernible only to the eye of the heart. We can appreciate their existence, just as we know of the existence of the master of everything, though we do not see him with our eyes. The soul of all flesh is the form which it was given by God. The extra dimension which is found in the soul of man is the form of man which is perfect in its knowledge. Concerning this form, the Torah states in Genesis 1:26, "Let us make man in our image and in our likeness," meaning granting man a form which knows and comprehends ideas that are abstract, like the angels who are form without body, until he can resemble them. This statement does not refer to the form of the body perceived by the eye, being the mouth, the nose, the cheeks, and the remainder of the structure of the body. This is referred to as toar, appearance. It is not the soul found in all the living flesh which allows it to eat, drink, reproduce, feel, and think. Rather, knowledge is the form of this dimension of soul, and it is concerning this form of the soul that the verse states, "in our image and in our likeness." Frequently, this form is referred to as nefesh or ruach. Therefore, one must be careful regarding these names, lest another person err regarding them. Each name reveals its characteristics. The form of this soul is not a combination of the fundamental elements into which it will ultimately decompose, nor does it come from the neshama, so that it would require the neshama, as the neshama requires the body. Rather, it is from God, from heaven. Therefore, when the matter of the body, which is a combination of the fundamental elements, decomposes, and the neshama ceases to exist, for the neshama exists only together with the body, and requires the body for all its deeds, this form will not be cut off. For this form does not require the neshama for its deeds, rather it knows and comprehends knowledge which is above matter, knows the creator of all things, and exists forever. In his wisdom, Solomon said the following concerning it, Ecclesiastes 12:7. "The dust will return to earth as it originally was, and the ruach, the spirit, will return to God, who granted it." All these concepts which we have explained in this context are like a drop in a bucket. They are deep matters. Nevertheless, their depth does not approach the depth of the subject matter of the first and second chapters. The explanation of all the subject matter in the third and fourth chapters is referred to as Ma'aseh Bereshit, the work of creation. The sages of the early generations commanded that these matters should not be expounded upon in public. Rather, one by one, individuals should be informed about them and taught them. What is the difference between the subject matter of Maaseh Merkavah and the subject of matter of Maaseh Bereshit? The subject matter of Maaseh Merkavah should never be expounded upon, even to a single individual, unless he is wise and capable of understanding, in which instance he is given fundamental points. In contrast, the subject matter of Maaseh Bereshit may be taught to an individual, even though he is incapable of comprehending it with his own powers of understanding alone. He may be informed about everything that he can possibly know about these matters. Why are they not taught publicly? Because not every person has the vast knowledge necessary to grasp the interpretation and the explanation of these matters in a complete manner. When a person meditates on these matters and recognizes all the creations, the angels, the spheres, man, and the like, and appreciates the wisdom of the Holy One, blessed be He, in all these creations, he will add to his love for God. His soul will thirst, and his flesh will long with love for God, blessed be He. He will stand in awe and fear from his humble, lowly, and base nature when he compares himself to one of the great and holy bodies. How much more so when comparing himself to the pure forms which are separate from matter and do not share any connection with it. He will see himself as a vessel full of embarrassment and shame, empty and lacking. The matters discussed in these 4 chapters concerning these 5 mitzvot are what the sages of early generations termed the pardes. As they related, 4 entered the pardes. Even though they were great men of Israel and great sages, not all of them had the potential to know and comprehend these matters in their totality. I maintain that it is not proper for a person to stroll in the pardes unless he has filled his belly with bread and meat. Bread and meat refer to the knowledge of what is permitted and what is forbidden, and similar matters concerning other mitzvot. Even though the sages referred to these as a small matter, for our sages said, a great matter, this refers to Maaseh Merkavah. A small matter, this refers to the debates of Abaye and Rava. Nevertheless, it is fitting for them to be given precedence because they settle a person's mind. Also, they are the great good which the Holy One, blessed be He, has granted to allow for stable living within this world and the acquisition of the life of the world to come. They can be known in their totality by the great and the small, man or woman, whether they have been granted expansive knowledge or limited knowledge. Basically, what the Rambam is saying is, Nigla before Nistar. Work on what's revealed, the Torah, the mitzvos, and the simple things, halachot, and get a firm foundation, be grounded, and then, if your soul is still trying to go higher, you can go into deeper things.